Hi, and welcome to Creator Fundamentals. My name is Dan Currier, and it is my mission to simplify YouTube so you and I can grow together. Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday night live stream. For those of you who may be new to the live stream, we do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you are new, welcome. Consider clicking that subscribe button and the bell notification icon if you want to see future videos on tip, tech, and tutorials that can help you simplify YouTube. Going to have a specific conversation tonight. We're going to talk about whether or not it's too late to start a YouTube channel in 2020. This is a question that comes up a lot. I thought heading into the new year, this would be a golden opportunity to look at that and see, with all the given changes, the recent changes, whether it's still viable to start a YouTube channel. And I'm going to bring in a special guest to help us have that conversation here in just a moment. Going to jump in the chat here, doing something different, have a little bit different setup, so I might be a little bit slower on the controls tonight. So hopefully you can bear with me on that. And make sure that this is all going good here. I know I mentioned it, or I have mentioned it recently, that I have roped my brother into joining us here on YouTube. He is now working on 2 separate channels. We're going to talk about that, but I want to bring him in now. Rich, welcome to the live stream. Welcome to YouTube. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, including the 2 channels that you're currently working on.
Hey everyone, so I have 2 channels currently. One I started back in August, and that is This Life Outdoors. And then I learned so much doing that channel that I decided to follow Dan's footsteps and start a page to help new YouTubers, and that one is called Tips for Tubers.
Awesome. So this is kind of what prompted me to think about this particular topic, the idea of whether it or not it's too late to start a YouTube channel. Rich started his channels in the last few months, earlier in 2019, and you've had a little bit of kind of a success story here on the Outdoors channel, This Life Outdoors. He is enjoying what it looks like when one of your videos kind of catches hold and starts to take off. So he actually did a video series about pallet wood. I couldn't think. I'm like, it's wood. It's something made out of wood. A pallet wood build that he did here in upstate New York. And he did a multi-part series. And what happened to one of those videos here recently?
So yeah, when I started in August, I started because I came up with an idea to do a build a mini cabin out of pallet wood. So we did a 10-part, 12-part series. There were a couple of bonus episodes in there. And as I've been watching it, one time it went, if you look in your YouTube studio, you see your 48-hour counts. Our best day so far was, our best 2 days was 2,500. But just 2 days ago, it took off, and currently I think we're at about 9,600 on that count. So awesome. Things are really taking off.
And This Life Outdoors just crossed, I think as of yesterday, you crossed 500, but did you say you just got to 600 as well?
Yeah, yesterday morning we were at 422. By the end of the day, we were over 5, and tonight I think we're just around 600.
Awesome. So we're talking about whether or not it's too late to start a YouTube channel here on YouTube. And here we have a channel. When did you actually put up the first video on This Life Outdoors?
August 9th.
August 9th. So what we're looking at today is the 11th, August, September, October, November, December. We are 4 months in. I know Rich mentioned to me just the other day that he's already reached the watch time requirement to reach monetization, and now he's already crossed 600 subscribers in 4 months. So, and for those of you who are wondering, Rich is actually my older brother, so we know he's not taking all the advice I try to throw at him. He's been mainly doing this on his own, and it just goes to show you that if you are dedicated to it and you're making regular content and you are committed to improving over time, that it is absolutely still a viable platform. And there are plenty of opportunities to make content, provided you understand what your audience wants and you are trying to give people something. And once you see that happen, when you see people respond in a positive way, that you are in a position to continue giving them that type of content. I believe you said it was a 10 or 11 part series, I think, something to that effect. I know.
Yeah, I think it's about 12.
12.
Yep.
Because I know I also have my other channel that I've been kind of neglecting, The Average Dan, and we actually both did a video on one of the first night we spent in the pallet wood cabin that they built. But it was actually, I think right now the video that's taken off is number 10 out of
Exactly.
right.
Yep.
So there was some interest there. The videos were going out. People were responding. And then this is actually an interesting thing because it is important to note that this particular video, we talk about keeping people watching as long as possible. And I believe part 10 on this particular video series was kind of a recap of 1 through 9, which was the entire build from start to finish, which also resulted in a much longer video length. And how is the average view duration on this video during this little spurt of growth that you're experiencing?
I think so. The video is about 32 minutes long, and we're getting, I think, 15 minutes of retention on it right now.
Wow,
in the last 7 days.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you can do that, when you can keep people watching, and in that case, a 15-minute average view duration, and you're getting it in front of people. It does have a spot-on thumbnail, I must say, and good things can happen. You get people into the video, they look at the video, they like what they see, and they watch the video. And the longer they do that, the more YouTube takes notice, and the more YouTube is going to promote your content. So if you're out there and you're not growing, and you think you make good content, but you're not actually seeing the response, then you kind of have to take a look from the outside and say, okay, I think my content's good, but how are people responding to it? And if you aren't getting the response is what YouTube looks at for signs that other people would respond in a similar fashion. And when you get that response, they're going to start kind of offering your content out to different people and different groups and a wider range of people to see how they respond. If they keep responding positively, you're going to get more and more exposure on that video. So this is a case, again, somebody starting out with no prior video skills, just making content that is meaningful to him, and it has resonated with an audience. It's a Friedman Group. Hey, Brad, good to see you. Tech for your needs. Brad's actually a speaker at People of Video coming up May 2nd and 3rd, 2020. If you guys have never been to a conference for video creators and you want to get in a room with some amazing talent, people who are highly successful in growing businesses around online video, plus a bunch of your peers where you can actually turn to the person next to you and talk about YouTube and not get that glazed over look that you might get from some of your family members. Definitely consider coming and hanging out with us at People of Video. You can find more information at peopleofvideo.com. Who don't follow the community tab as closely as the videos, we recently took a poll in the community tab to see what people had for suggestions in terms of the community around creator fundamentals, and it was decided that the name shall be the Creator Crew. So one of the things I was doing, I'm having, among other things, but some Creator Crew stickers made up. So if you guys want to get one of those for free, you can go to jointhecreatorcrew.com and fill in your address, and I will send one of those out to you. You got to be over 18, and I will do my best if you are outside of the U.S. to get you one. Make sure you give me as much information on your address as possible. It only lets me put, like a U.S. format. So be creative, get the information in there, and as long as it's not going to cost me $50 to send you a sticker, I will do my best to get one out to you. All right, so here's one of the things. If you go on a live stream and you're sitting in front of a camera for a long time, your voice can kind of go and your throat can get kind of dry. So you usually have a drink sitting here. What you don't want to do is backhand your drink onto your keyboard. Not saying that's what just happened. And for guys, those of you who don't know, this live stream is sponsored by TubeBuddy. And if you don't know about TubeBuddy, TubeBuddy is the #1 browser plugin for managing and growing your YouTube channel. It's available to download for free. There's a link in the description as always, or you can go to trytubebuddy.today and get started for free. It's something that I use for every video that I upload, and definitely something that you should take a look at. Download the free version, look it over, see some of the tools, and then you can also see some of these things that are available on the upgrade. But if you're just starting out, I would definitely recommend you start with the free version and use those tools to help you grow. And when you get to a certain point and it makes sense, you can look at some of the paid versions. But he saves you a lot of time. That and Morning Fame are essential tools. Yeah, definitely. Morning Fame is also another great tool. I actually use both of those every time I do a video. So definitely recommend both Morning Fame. I think there's a link in the description, probably towards the end of the description, for Morning Fame as well, if you guys want to take a look at that. Thank you so much, the Cooking Salon, for the super chat. I appreciate it. And you just reminded me that I think there was another super chat that popped up, and I just want to make sure. Oh, it was you as well. Thank you so much for the super chats. I definitely appreciate it. Congratulations on 50K. We're halfway to a play button. We're going to get there. So I'm interested, Rich, and because, I'll just ramble on forever. So you are now 4 months into YouTube, right? Started This Life Outdoors first. And what has been the thing that surprised you the most about how YouTube works?
Well, I think the surprise is when you first start, you put out a couple videos and they sort of trickle. I mean, because nobody knows you from anyone, so you really got to depend on, the thumbnail, the title, the description, and the tags. You really got to optimize, and you don't really know that in the beginning. But after you put out a handful of videos, and then, one of them catches, or even if they just churn a little bit, that's the surprising part. You kind of go from 0 to something in a very short period, as long as you're consistent putting out the content and you're following the basics. And then the other big surprises were that 2 or 3 times now I've seen these huge spikes where one day I just appear in suggested or browse and the videos sort of take off. One day I'm doing 200 views a day. The next day I'm doing 1,000. So that's a lot of fun to watch.
So yeah, one of the things that I can't even make this up. I just spelled it again. Yeah, again, I'm now at the little kids table. I cannot have liquid on my desktop. But anyway, one of the things I was saying, and you touched on it with the idea of making searchable content. I personally think that searchable content is a really good way, especially from the emotional perspective or standpoint, to see progress. A lot of people kind of get infatuated with suggested content and trying to learn exactly what it takes to get a bunch of people really excited about your videos so they explode. But the reality is that most people come onto YouTube without the knowledge on how to make videos, how to make thumbnails, what makes engaging content, how do you keep the viewer watching the video to the end. All those things take some time to learn. And when you approach it from a optimizing for search on the number 2 search engine that is YouTube, it allows you to see progress much sooner than kind of constantly putting out videos that nobody finds. So understanding a bit how YouTube kind of surfaces content, especially for people who are searching for specific things, can really be a morale booster and help you to keep moving forward, because it's 90% mental here on YouTube. You can learn all you need to learn over time. There's content like Creator Fundamentals and as Rich mentioned, the channel that he just started, which is Tips for Tubers, that are going to share the lessons that other people have learned, and they're sharing them for free. So there's really no excuse about floundering if you're willing to put in the time and effort to do the work. If something isn't working, then you sit down at YouTube and instead of making videos, you watch videos until you find the answer. And then you make content based on that new information. You see how it goes. And then the next video, you try to improve it a little bit more. And that's just the approach that successful YouTubers make. It's understanding that you're not going to be perfect in the beginning. You don't want to get frustrated, but you want to do it in a systematic way so you can identify what's working and what's not working and look up those things you don't know how to do. I remember, for example, when I went to Vid Summit for the first time and I was trying to grow a business around Creator Fundamentals so it can support itself, to enable the channel to be able to bring you guys more information in a variety of different ways. And people were talking about mailing lists and how people were using them to stay connected to their audience in times when they may not be able to do it through a given platform. And I didn't know what a mailing list was, but what did I do? I went and started researching and watching videos on exactly what it is and how it's important and what people do to bring awareness to their community about that. And you just learn as you go along. But there's definitely a ton of opportunity, no excuses, because anything that you don't know how to answer, there's channels like these who are out or putting out those answers for you. You just have to be willing to search for them. That's why you may not get the best answer that you hoped for when you come on a live stream like this and you're like, how do I grow my channel? Well, you start watching videos like everybody else did. Nobody's going to go, hang on. Your channel just grew. That's not how it works. You have to do some work yourself. You're not going to be able to get that magic answer. There is no, magic wand to do it. You have to learn all the steps, put them all together on a consistent basis, time after time, and then you start to see that success. And, just the Rich's channel, Tips for Tubers, he started sharing things on there, and you can, what is it, 3 videos so far? 4 videos?
4.
4 videos,
Yeah.
and you can already see the improvement just from making, just in 4 videos. It's like night and day between
you just have to put the videos out there.
Yes.
No matter how bad they are, just keep posting. It'll get better.
Yes, and that is in the the worse your initial videos are, the better it feels a year from now when you get to look back and you see how much progress that you made.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid to put out an imperfect video because you'll appreciate it later. So if you weren't following Creator Fundamentals right from the beginning, and I can tell you that most of you weren't, because right at the beginning, I actually started Creator Fundamentals as an educational channel right from zero. And that's something that a lot of other people in my niche did not do. They often grew their channel to a certain level and then decided they wanted to transition into educational content or sharing the stuff that works on YouTube with an audience. I started Creator Fundamentals at 0 views, 0 subscribers, focused on helping people, which, as you can imagine, not everybody was keen on a brand new channel offering advice, but you have to learn how to stay in your lane. Obviously, I wasn't making videos on how to get 10,000 subscribers at 0, but I was talking about things that I had learned up to that point on my other channel, The Average Dan. So my brother is doing a channel called Tips for Tubers, which is along those same lines. He, like many people on his other channel, This Life Outdoors, as he started to learn stuff on YouTube, you're kind of compelled. You want to share that information with people. And we had a conversation about it, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably not appropriate for your outdoors channel, but you can do like I did, create a separate channel and share the tips on that because it's a more relevant platform. So I'm going to put a link in the description. See how often? There is a link that I just dropped in chat. That is my brother's YouTube tips channel. So if you want another source for tips, another perspective, somebody who's just starting out and growing in today's environment on YouTube. I know sometimes I hear from people, certain people in the niche, they're too big now, so they don't really have an understanding of, what it's really like to grow today. No matter when you start, everybody thinks today's harder than yesterday. In any event, his channel, Tips for Tubers, head over there after the stream, or you can probably just hit the 3 dots on his name if you see him out there in chat, and go over there and subscribe to that channel and ring the bell so you can see new content when he puts it out. And we'll be doing stuff together in the future, so I wanted to make you guys all aware of that. I saw somebody that asked about the Outdoors channel. It is This Life Outdoors. And that's the channel. That's the one that's kind of taken off right now with the Pallet Wood Cabin series. You'll even see me in some of those videos as well. So definitely check that out if you're into outdoors. We're going to show that just because. Don't start a channel. And if you do start one, on BitChute as well. I don't think there's any rules on YouTube that are going to impact anybody's ability to grow on the platform. I would maybe, if you're considering starting a kids channel, I might wait a little while to see how that's going to flesh itself out, but I do think that there's still plenty of opportunity here on YouTube. Is it too late for Generation X to grow on YouTube? Thank you so much for that super chat. Absolutely not. There's so much opportunity. There's an audience for everybody. Your biggest thing is to identify your audience, stay true to that audience, and make sure that your content is focused on that audience and what it is that they are interested in. If you do that, you will find success on the platform. One of the biggest problems, though, is that people are impatient, or they have an expectation that success is going to happen overnight. And, you probably heard it in a bunch of different ways, but overnight success takes 10 years. On YouTube, it doesn't necessarily take that, 10 years. You can find a lot of success way before 10 years, but you do have to put in the work. Cooking song, what's your brother's name? My brother's name is Rich.
Hello.
It's not too late to start a YouTube channel, but it's important to know your goals. Yeah, you definitely have to know where the finish line is before you start running, or else you can find yourself heading in the complete wrong direction and no closer to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So it's definitely, it definitely behooves you to figure out the type of content, the focus before you get too deep into the process. Now, you can start making videos to get a feel for it, and you can kind of shift gears. You can pivot your content over time. So don't get into a position where you're not making content because you're not quite sure what you want to make videos about. It's always better to just start putting out content and see where it takes you. And then once you have that understanding, once you have a little bit of familiarity with the process, then you can figure out exactly how to focus that in. So, Rich, you have been joining some of the YouTube community groups on Facebook.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How has the YouTube community been in terms of helping you with the process of learning how YouTube works?
Well, so the YouTube community is great. Honestly, when you join the right groups, I say there's some sketchy ones out there, but when you get in the really good groups, everybody's really supportive, and I strongly recommend it. Go on Facebook, find a good YouTube community group like Dan's, and then notice I point to the monitor like you guys can see my monitor.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just go there. You can ask questions, support other other content creators, and especially on those down days, where maybe you're not doing so well, go ask some questions, get a new perspective, and it could really, the slightest comment or just a different way that someone tells you how to do something can really make a big difference and make that light bulb go off, and then you're like, oh my God, I get it now, and then you move on to the next thing.
Yeah, and sometimes those kind of conversations are helpful, even if it was something that you used to know, and that you've just, fallen out of habit of doing. Like I mentioned earlier, going to a conference like People of Video, that idea that most of the time, us as creators on YouTube are not in a position when where we're hanging out with the family, where we're sitting around a table chatting about YouTube because nobody else gets it and nobody else really wants to listen. Now we have the pleasure of annoying the rest of our family when Rich and I are at a table, because we can actually talk about something meaningful, and that is figuring how YouTube works and the whole process of growing on there. But it is those conversations that constantly refresh best practices. When I started Creator Fundamentals, it was all about learning fundamentals, and the majority of the game, I played baseball in college, and in any organized sports, it's always the fundamentals that normally make or break a player. There are people with amazing skills, but it's the people who consistently perform the fundamentals over and over again, like clockwork. It becomes second nature. Those are the people who find success.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, if
Um,
you kind of get caught up, you learn so much so fast that you forget all the stuff from the beginning, and then you
right.
start trying to copy the things that maybe the bigger YouTubers are doing, and you just gotta rewind a little bit and stick to the basics. Once you get that done and you get some content out there that just starts to kind of churn, then you can learn the more advanced stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw somebody in the chat that was asking about the Facebook group. My Facebook group is called YouTube Simplified. And I just shared a link in chat if you guys want to join us in our Facebook community. I think there's about 1,100 people or so in that group. We'd love to have you over there. And that's a great place to, between videos, to ask questions, interact with your fellow community members. And I am in there as often as possible to try to answer any questions that people bring up. Um, so you can, uh, have it as a resource to get things figured out because, uh, you know, a lot of people talk about time and not having time to do YouTube. And one of the most valuable things you can do with your time is when you're not in a position to actually make content, utilizing a variety of resources to prepare you better for the next video. I use a free software app called Evernote, which is a great place to take notes. So if I am not in front of a camera and I can't make a video, I have my phone on me. I can open the Evernote app and I can write down some ideas for videos. And it's those kind of things that the channels that are finding success do on a regular basis because you don't always, instead of going, okay, it's time to make a video, I'm going to sit in front of the camera and then I'm going to go, now what should I make a video about? It's using those opportunities that may not be film days, but they can still be really helpful in pushing that next video along because you are going to be prepared ahead of time. You're going to have time to think about it and reflect on the best way to do it. And you're going to have information at your disposal that you're not just trying to come up with as the camera's rolling. So definitely some helpful things, and the community is a great way to do that and bounce ideas off of people, see what other people are doing. Sometimes you'll see somebody else's video and it'll give you an idea of how you can use that concept in your niche, and the more that you interact with the like-minded people who do that, then it just helps you along and gives you a better perspective on how to continue to improve. Family History Fanatics, I've enjoyed your Facebook group. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Rich, can you tell us what tips you have when starting a new YouTube channel?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it starts from the very beginning. I didn't start a channel because I wanted to start a channel so much. Dan had kind of mentioned it a few times, and I kind of always had it in the back of my head. But it took me a while to come up with the idea. Like I didn't want to just start and throw things out there. So you sort of start with an idea. Then you want to start with a name, but you got to search that name. Try to be unique. Make sure there's not 10 other people that have the same name that you do, and then and I think I said this in one of my terrible early videos on tips for tubers. It's not the quality that matters; it's the content. Um, really, just stick to the basics, and you may not know them then, but it's your thumbnail is your commercial, your title and your description and your tags are what speaks to YouTube, including your thumbnail. But if you stick to those basic items, and then you just put the content out there with it, eventually they're gonna catch to some degree. And you just repeat, repeat. And in my case, I've changed my thumbnails. I mean, my channel's very young, so I don't think I did any harm. But I gone back, I learned something new, and I tweak it. If you're using TubeBuddy, they have the A/B testing where you can put up two thumbnails and it alternates daily and tells you which one's getting the best click-through rate. So really, thumbnails, titles, descriptions, and tags. You've already got the content, you've got your idea, tried it, and try to stick to a theme. I changed a little bit in the beginning. I was watching watching a stream on this camera, and then I thought of doing some barbecuing over here. But in the end, Dan is like, try to focus, try to stick with it, give your niche a chance, see if it catches on. If you have to adjust later, you can. But again, I'll say it: thumbnails, descriptions, titles, and tags. Just be consistent with those. Don't let anyone slip because they're all really important.
Yeah, and the doing that, the research that you do when you're creating your title is it helps you to first it helps you kind of formulate a plan around an idea, which is not just when you approach your title, you're either going to do it with, hey, I'm going to look for what people are actually searching for related to this idea that I have, or I'm going to put together a title that is enticing or mysterious or has some type of cliffhanger on it that people are compelled to watch the video to find out what happens next, basically. And you'll make, what happens when you put, 10 million balloons in a swimming pool, or, those kind of videos. But there's, equally as powerful is, hey, how to change a flat tire, those kind of things, and learning how people are actually searching for that information and crafting that title to really bring those people in is definitely powerful. And I think when you are first starting out, all those things are important, and you also want to get some type of schedule in place. So to the point where one of the biggest things that will happen is they'll either be really ambitious and be like, oh, I'm going to put out videos every day. And then that'll last like a week. Maybe it lasts 2 weeks. And then they're like, oh, that's too much, and quit. Find the schedule that works for you and your real world schedule. Don't look at somebody else and say they're doing it, I need to do it. If it's only once a week, do it once a week. If it's once every other week, do it once every other week. The important thing is that you stick with it. People are aware when your content's going to come out, because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where it becomes too easy to walk away, because then your channel's just gonna die and you're not gonna stick with it. So having that schedule and finding some consistency in making content over and over again, and like the conversation Rich and I had about those initial videos. It's always more important to push up the videos, to upload the videos, than worrying about perfection.
Yeah, and even if the video is terrible, you've learned so much by going through the experience. You got in front of the camera, you hit record, you did it. So the next one's going to be a little bit better.
You definitely learn. You definitely learn by doing, and that's why it's so important to when I talk about improving over time, it's actually go back and watch your previous videos. Because like when I go back and I watch the earlier videos from this channel, or even videos that I made a month ago, I still see things that, even a month later, I'm like, oh, I could have done that better. And it's, reflecting on it after you've done it. Because in the moment, you're doing the best that you can. That's the goal. You're not going, I'm going to make a crappy video today. It's like, I'm going to do the best I can with the knowledge I have today. And you just need to do that and move forward and upload that video. But as you continue to learn and grow and develop those skills, you'll look back and go, oh, wow, man, that color's off on that video, or that sound has a hiss in the background, and how can I fix that for my next video? All those little things stack up. And then next thing you know, people are going, man, you make really good content. I love how nice your backdrop looks. I like how crispy the video is, and your audio is on point. And that just didn't happen out of the gate. It was tweak after tweak after tweak, sometimes going backwards. I know for me, like trying to get nice audio on videos was a variety of challenges, one of which I was running my DSLR with an external power source so I could plug it into the wall. And at some point, I realized that was creating interference with my mic. And I figured it out once, and then I ended up using the camera on batteries for a long time. And like 6 months later, I went and plugged it in again and totally forgot about that. And I'm like, why? Why is my audio suddenly sound horrible? So you got to continually, figure those things out and make those improvements. Just Frugal Me, love the $15 setup with the lighting. Yeah, if you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I recently did a video about a $15 YouTube studio. So if you haven't checked that video out, you can go to the latest videos on Creator Fundamentals and check out the $15 studio videos. Also, really important for those of you who are actually subscribers, and if anybody's out there who's not a subscriber, definitely consider clicking that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you are notified on future content. One of the biggest changes on Creator Fundamentals for 2020 is I'm making a very concerted effort to introduce more tech-related videos, tech for YouTube studios and creating content on YouTube. I just put out a video talking about the best light for YouTube Studio. It would mean a ton to me if all of you can watch that video because it's not as focused or the typical tips video. It certainly is underperforming compared to the other videos. But I would love to get some attention on that video. So if you can watch that video, that would be awesome as well. The other thing about that is that that video has lighting that Newer, who makes all the lights that light my studio, sent me for free to share with you guys. And I would love to be able to share more of their stuff with you because, like I said, my room is literally filled with all Newer lights and a softbox, and I got the barn doors above me and the wall-mounted light stands. Everything is Newer. And I had no previous relationship with me, but because all of you guys have supported the channel and we've continued to grow, they actually randomly reached out to me and said, hey, we want to send you some free stuff to share with your people. So I'd love to be able to do more of that with you and maybe get some giveaways from them in the process to be able to actually give away some of their gear to you. So if you can support that video, that would be huge for me. Watch that video, share your comments, get a lot of activity on it. Share it if you know anybody who could benefit from checking out that type of content. And I am going to throw the link to that particular video in chat because it, let's see where it's at here. Usually those type of videos always come out slow on the channel anyway, but because that is from Newer, we want to make sure that we get a good look at that. Let's see. Any chance of a video that would help those of us with very limited space? So absolutely, Sarah Dawn, because that's my wheelhouse. I have a studio set up in what feels like a glorified closet. So I am definitely stay tuned in 2020. I'm going to do a lot of content on setting up a YouTube studio and specifically setting up a YouTube studio when you don't have a lot of space. For example, one of the things that I want to cover, and I talked about it in that lighting video that I did, I don't have the room to have tripod light stands on the floor. I barely have room for the tripod that holds my DSLR behind my desk. So I actually have light stands that mount to the wall. They are actually put out by Newer as well. Actually, in that video, in the description of the video, the lighting video that I shared in the chat, it actually has links to two different versions of those. There's kind of like a little stubby one, which is just a plate and a peg that connects the light to. For those of you who have never done this type of lighting, it basically has this little, it just has a post and it sits on there like that and you tighten it. And it has a little indent in it that the screw goes between. And it has those mounted to a plate that allows you to attach them to the wall. So then you can have those barn door lights up on the walls, away from the floor, so you don't tie up any more room, nothing to trip over. And it also helps you get the wires out of the way and all that stuff. So, but it is after 9 o'clock. I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank Rich for jumping on. Is this your official first ever live stream or?
Very first ever. So
Very
I'm glad
first
I
ever.
didn't screw it up too bad.
Thank you so much for Rich coming and hanging out with us. You guys were all present for his first ever live stream here on YouTube on Creator Fundamentals. Remember, his channel is called Tips for Tubers. There is a link in the chat. I'm also going to put links to his channels in the description after this video or this live stream is all rendered and processed by YouTube. That'll be available out there as well. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. It has been a good time as always. Again, click the subscribe button and that bell notification icon so you don't miss our weekly live streams every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll see you in the next video. Any closing remarks? Anything you want to say, Rich, before we head out for the night?
Hey, just thanks, everyone. It was great to meet everyone, and I hope I get to do this again.
All right, guys, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.